Hi, this is Jimmy Yen with Achieve Integrative Health and also Achieve 10X TV. And I'm super excited to have on the show today Chris McKee. Is it McKee or McGee or McKee?
It's McKee,
McKee. Okay, Chris McKee.
Yeah.
We met, I forgot, how did you find out about
I
me?
actually was introduced to you through somebody through the Neuropathy Alliance.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
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 And
And then we got
so we had lunch and then really hit it off. We really believe, we both believe in nutrition. And so I wanted definitely in my, my training series of how to bulletproof your health, how to bulletproof your immune system. One of the chapters or sections was very important is nutrition and diet. And so that's why I wanted to bring on a nutritionist who could speak to us about that. So Chris, why don't you introduce yourself
Sure.
and go from there.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on, first of all. Appreciate it. Love collaborating. And this is a super important time for us to be sharing this kind of information with people, right?
Yes.
My background started a long time ago, 30 years ago, when my husband was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, cancer of the lymphatic system. He was stage 3B, fully involved, and he was only 37 years old. And so we went through the traditional treatment, chemo, radiation, surgery, all the things that you do. And when he came out the other side, he was a complete mess. Young still, only 40. And so they did not give us anything to restore his immune system or rebuild his body. So we stepped outside of Western medicine and found a nutritionist. Started working with that person and saw great results fairly quickly. And that just inspired me because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I was a mom and a fitness instructor at the time, so made the decision to go back to school to become a nutritionist. So it's been a long journey. My husband's still alive and well with us today, 76 years old.
Wow.
And no reoccurrence of cancer. And I'm 7 years younger than him, so he always says he has to stay alive to keep up with me. But I work virtually now. My client base is all over the United States. I am also a certified nutrigenomics practitioner, so I do genetic testing, and I use GX Sciences right here in Austin. So you may be familiar with Dr. Kendall Stewart. I'm not sure if you are or not. But yeah. So my passion is obviously helping people to get on track, but I do work with all kinds of health challenges, and with the genetic testing, it's kind of taken it to another level, deeper, and it's been very, very interesting.
Good. Awesome. So you mentioned that, especially during this time in the pandemic, everybody, well, not everybody, but, some people are trying to get their health back into gear.
Yeah.
And one of the most common topic is detox.
Yeah.
And, what does detox mean to you?
That's a great question. So you'll see obviously lots of detox programs out there.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people hear the word detox and think, oh no, I'm going to be in the bathroom all day long. No. And I believe, like you do, that we have body systems. So we have digestive system and cardiovascular system, lymphatic system. So when you talk about detox, you really have to look at body systems. And when I do, which I'm currently actually launching another 10-day detox on Monday, I do these every quarter. It really is about food and cleaning up the diet first. And then we focus on our environment. So where are these toxins coming from? So as you probably know, a newborn baby umbilical cord has about 200 toxins in them. As soon as they come into the world, they've got a lot of toxins. So we're getting a lot of this from our environment, the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the clothes that we wear. One of the big things I talk about is personal care products. So what we put on our skin goes right in.
Yeah.
It's a big area of toxicity. So when I talk about detox, I'm really talking about the whole spectrum of our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then when we do a detox, we're focused on organic. We do as much organic as possible to lower the toxic load coming in. We also lower the sugar coming in.
Yeah.
It's a big one. And a lot of people don't realize where it's hidden and where it's coming in from. And even the quote gluten-free, you can get high on sugar with gluten-free.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of potato starch and simple carbs. So we focus on clean eating from that respect. If people choose to do animal protein, we look for wild fish, grass-fed beef, organic chicken, those kinds of things. So again, to lower the toxic load coming in. Now we do support the body with things like liver support, the dandelion teas and things like that. And I love some of the Chinese teas.
Mm-hmm.
It helps support the lymphatic system, the kidneys, and the liver, the major organs. And we are eating a very high vegetable diet, very moderately fruit diet. So we're eating pretty low sugar on the fruit side. So our goal is to keep the bowels moving,
Yeah.
but we're not trying to do something where we're, you're going to be sitting in the bathroom all day long.
Yeah.
So we're focused on organs, body organs, the systems, the body systems, and then lowering the toxic load. That is, to me, what I love to educate people on. Where's it coming from? And in our daily life, how can we start to begin to lower the toxic load?
Yeah, that's actually really good. Yeah, that's exactly what we do here at Achieve Integrative Health. Is we talk about organ function. And so our bodies naturally detox themselves.
Yeah.
So you just have to help them work.
Yeah.
So yeah, how long, so, some people may be wondering, how long is this detox?
Well, we go 10 days with this, and it's very interesting because I first started this probably 6 years ago with Dr. Jana Schreier right here in Georgetown. She's an well, she's not an OB anymore. She's just a GYN.
Yeah.
But I was working out of her office as a nutritionist, and she came to me and said, my biggest challenge with my patients is weight.
Yeah.
Losing weight. And she said, I don't want to put them on, Ideal Protein or one of these things because it's loaded with artificial sweeteners. And she said, what would you consider, what should we do? I mean, that was her big question. And I said, well, if I'm going to work with your patients on weight loss, we need time with them. We can't just do this one step thing. So we put together a 30-day, we called it Detox to Weight Loss. Mm-hmm. And our goal during that time was to get them educated. So we would meet once a week for a couple hours, and I would educate on the kidneys and on the livers and on the digestion, all that different stuff. And we had them on a very similar program like I'm talking about, very high vegetable, oral organic diet, no alcohol. Yeah. That's a tough one for some people. 30 days. Especially for yeah. But I will tell you, it seemed like and they really would struggle for the first 5 days or so because of the sugar cravings and things coming off of sugar. But by day 10 was when most people would start to tell me, we made them get off, we made them stay off the scale. They got on it and we measured and weighed them in the beginning and we wouldn't let them on again for 30 days. But they could tell by their pants, they were getting a little looser, or they said, I'm sleeping better, or my migraine headaches are gone. Yeah. All kinds of things would start to happen by day 10. And so when I decided to do this online, 30 days was tough for a lot of people. Yeah. But I thought if I can get them to day 10, I know they're going to see some changes in their body, and it does. It works. It really, really does. So that's why I chose 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So during this 10-day process, you're saying you're obviously changing the way they eat. Yeah. You're helping them see what they're putting on, like the skin, the products. You're helping them remove some of that toxic products that they're putting in. Yeah. And then also some supplementation to help boost the organs to function better.
Yeah.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of it's a mind shift for a lot of people. They have to prepare, today's kind of, everybody's out shopping if they can, doing the best they can with what we have available. But, it's a preparation, and I tell them to meal plan. I do give them 10 days of meals and lots of recipes, to use if they want to. But what most people will find, and then we talk about transitioning at the end of 10 days, just don't go back out and just go have pizza and beer. I mean, your body will freak out, right? So we talk about transitioning We're gluten-free and dairy-free during this time. So I always talk about, let's add in one thing and see how your body responds.
Yeah.
So then what I'll hear is, wow, I put in dairy and I have all this mucus. They just didn't realize it was happening all the time. But then when they took it out, you know, of course, we know a lot of inflammation comes down and all that stuff. So I really talk about, wow, you know, listen to your body as you introduce these foods back in, because it'll talk to you really loud now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really big part of it is pay attention when we, and most people will find they just do better without some of these foods.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, you know, I think I just want to keep eating this way. I feel so good, you know, and that's the goal. And then some of them fall off the wagon and then they come back and, you know, the next time around and say, I need to get back on the wagon. Or what I also hear is, I did implement some of these things and I've been doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, round two, I want to work on this. You know, I want to make this part of my lifestyle. And so this is going to be my goal this time around to do this. So, you know, baby steps are huge, I think, for most people. They need to congratulate themselves. They need to let them, you know, feel good about what they've done.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people will lose up to 8 pounds in 10 days. You know, some of that's water weight, we know. But the inflammation comes down. I think that's a big part of this. What happens is the inflammation comes down and digestion gets better and those organs get working like they want to. And the body will release the weight.
That's interesting. Because I say that's how we help people lose weight too.
Yeah.
We don't focus on the weight loss. We focus on the organ function and the organs. Your body's holding on to the weight, and so I really like the way that the word you use, release, because that's what I say. I say the body will just release it.
Right.
It's holding on.
Right.
So one of the things that our patients sometimes struggle with is when doing a diet or any type of thing, is some people want variety. So what do you do in those situations?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what I find when I do a consult with someone, they have to do at least 3 days for me of foods and beverages. I prefer 5.
Yeah.
I like to see weekdays plus weekends, because oftentimes a weekend is a complete different story than a weekday. But what I usually see is most people are pretty regular with what they eat for breakfast and lunch. I mean, it's kind of like, especially if they go to work and they pack a lunch.
Yeah.
Some people eat at the same place when they eat out for lunch. Breakfast is oftentimes the same thing over and over. So I find that people just get kind of stuck in a pattern of eating the same thing. Dinner might be different, but breakfast and lunch seems to be the same. But what I try to do to educate people is that other choices that are out there that are healthier choices in what they're doing, and point them at brand names and tell them, you know, especially if they're here in Texas, you know, H-E-B carries this, you know, whatever, because I think they don't know what to buy. I think they're really like, they look at something and think, well, what if it tastes terrible? Or what if I buy it and it's a waste of money or whatever? So I try to give them options. So if we're going dairy free, then it's kind of like, well, maybe they've never tried almond milk or coconut milk or something like that. Or what if they're cheese lovers, you know, and now we're taking cheese away. What do we do now? But there's things like, I don't know, you may be familiar with like Daiya cheese. Tastes pretty.
I'm not.
Yeah, it's actually really pretty good. The other thing is I do talk about goat cheese, goat milk, a little bit closer to the human milk family there. So maybe try that and see how that works for you. So I think just letting people know these are some alternatives. There's so many choices out there, but I think they're intimidated. A lot of people will tell me, you know, I walk down that natural food aisle and I'm just like, what is all this weird stuff? You know? Yeah. Or natural grocers is just like, whoa, this is strange stuff here. So I think the biggest challenge I find is getting people to just try something different, like for breakfast. You and I just talked about this, like you're thinking every morning smoothie, right? Pretty much.
Same thing. Every morning.
I'm pretty much the same thing too, but I do make a variety of different ones. Like sometimes I'll use fresh turmeric root, you know, or sometimes I use fresh ginger. sometimes I'll use different berries or something, or different greens in there. And so I do give people recipes for the smoothies because they're freaked out about putting spinach in their smoothie. And I'm like, you're not going to taste it. Trust me, it's going to be green color, but you won't taste it. But, just giving them ideas for things and assuring them this is going to taste good. Trust me, this will taste good. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't know where to start when it comes to like a smoothie. It's just foreign. True. They're used to eating a packaged, put the oatmeal in the thing and put it in the microwave or something. Yeah. So I think just giving people ideas is really important to try. And I've found some people just fall in love with smoothies, and they start getting really creative with them. I will talk about using things like for lunch, if people are eating out a lot, to encourage them maybe to try 3 days a week of bringing their lunch. Mm-hmm. And being one of my favorite things is something called a bento box. Yes. Yeah. So, if you go to a Japanese restaurant, you get a little bento box with little squares. But you can buy bento boxes on Amazon. Yeah. And fill them, the night before. Yeah. You can fill them full of all kinds, olives and, just all kinds of cool little things, and they don't get all soggy and stuck together. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of my tips for people is you can make it the night before and just grab it and go in the morning. And you can put all kinds of different variety of fun things in there. And I give them all kinds of ideas for that. So those kinds of things, I think people just need a little help with, what do I eat? Yeah. If I've been eating this way and it's not healthy for me, what do I eat? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So those definitely, for me, my breakfast is just the same. I use, organic, vegan protein and greens, and it's just easier. Yeah. I'm busy all the time, and we're all busy. Yeah. And so I don't enjoy cooking, and so it's like the least amount of time I can be in the kitchen, the better. Yeah. At the same time, I want nutritious food too. I don't want to just eat junk food. Sure. So what, what I would say within your clientele, do you have a specific age group that you specialize in, or that you prefer to work with, or is it just a broad spectrum?
Well, I have a tendency because of my age, I think. So I'm definitely Medicare age. I have a tendency to work with the older client. I think that's probably because of my circle of influence, maybe. But I do, my real passion, because of having, taken my husband from cancer patient to cancer survivor, is I do work with people with coming out of cancer therapy. So the chemo and radiation and devastation of all of that can be pretty tough on the body. So that is my passion. So I definitely gravitate towards helping coach those people back to health. But what I found with the genetic testing is people in my age group, and oftentimes right before they're going to retire or getting close to retirement, or they're retiring, all of a sudden their health is a big priority. Yeah. They've worked all their life to retire. And now it's like, I need to take care of my health. Yeah. I want to live another 20 years. So I find that is a big part of my clientele. Is they come to me and they're like, I want to know what I should do, and I want to know specifically. And with genetic testing, I find it to be really personalized nutrition, because then we can really look, maybe they've had some chronic problems for a long time that once you genetically test, you kind of go, oh yeah, we can see why. So that group is definitely probably my biggest clientele group. Okay. Is the people who are in the range of, I'd say, anywhere from 55 to 65, where they've either starting to see health challenges or they don't want to see health challenges. Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things you mentioned, that since we met through the Neuropathy Alliance, right, and you just mentioned about helping people after they've gone through the chemotherapy, right, radiation. Have you noticed, because you went through it with your husband, mm-hmm, have you ever, it's like someone who just got diagnosed and they haven't gone through the cancer treatments yet? Have you started working on them, with them to improve their nutrition just right then? Mm-hmm. have you seen a difference between when you start earlier
Mhm.
versus waiting till all the chemotherapy is done, then change?
Absolutely.
What's the difference?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I have clients that I've worked with, that are 20-year survivors or whatever that, I worked with from day one when as soon as they were diagnosed. And definitely they will even tell me, I go in and oftentimes see the same people getting their chemo that I'm at the same time, right? And they sit in the chairs and talk to each other and stuff. And I'm just sailing through this and people are not. And, they definitely will tell me, I can tell the difference. And we're getting so much more information now. I think, especially one of the areas is in fasting before chemo.
Okay.
A lot of clinical studies on this, and we're seeing the chemo works better because we know if we starve that cancer, right, and keep all the sugar away from it,
Exactly.
and then it'll gobble up anything that you put in there right after fasting. So we see that things like that we're getting a lot more clinical studies on, and so definitely being able to help the body detoxify this stuff as you're going along.
Yeah.
Versus waiting until the end, and when you start to see liver enzymes go up and kidney problems. And I know you and I talked about, you said the sooner you can get a hold of somebody, the better with acupuncture because of the neuropathy. The sooner the better. So yeah, I think it's true with nutrition. I think, of course, what you eat during chemo and all your, that's a challenge because some people lose their appetite and they have nausea and there are a lot of things to help with that during that time. And so I think that's the best time is start, if you're going to do it, let's do it together versus waiting till the end. Yeah. Unfortunately, most people don't have, they don't get referred out to someone like me. And unfortunately, what I hear from my clients is my doctor said, just eat whatever you want just to keep the weight on. And so that's the worst thing, right? Milkshakes and things like this. And I just cringe. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've heard that quite a few times.
Yeah.
Even with this is years ago. I think doctors are getting a little better, but years ago, probably 10 years ago, I had a patient who was diabetic, type 2 diabetic, and she was pumping insulin, injecting insulin into herself. She was up to 20 units of insulin, and I think it was probably within 5 years. She went from 0 insulin to 20 units of insulin within 5 years. And I asked her what she was doing for diet, and she said, "Oh, my doctor said if I just inject insulin, I can eat whatever I want." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Okay.
No. Please, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's good to know. Yeah. It's like with acupuncture, the sooner, once you get that diagnosis, actually, now, hopefully that's a wake up call. And
Yeah.
that's just to say, look, you need to get, your diet into gear because
Yes.
you're about to go on a journey that ain't going to be pretty.
Mm-mm.
And, the more support and nutrition that you have for your body, yeah, like you're saying, your experiences, they're going to get through it better.
Yeah.
Not like they're not going to not have the side effects because chemotherapy is so strong,
Right.
but they could have a better quality of life. Is that what I'm hearing? If they change their nutrition before?
Yeah. And well, I just had a client, he was going through treatment for colon cancer
Mm-hmm.
and started working well. It was great because he came to me right away before he even started chemo. And he had very few down days. I mean,
Wow.
he really did. I mean, it was, and he's worked all the way through it and said, some days I don't have the energy, I mean, obviously, right after the chemo, but the only thing that happened to him that's very common is you have to lose your taste buds. You start to lose the taste. And he said, I didn't feel like eating because I couldn't taste.
Yeah.
But his wife was still making him good food and saying, "You're eating it," choke it down. But, he did come out of that really strong and didn't lose hardly any weight. He was kind of a lean guy anyway. So I think just watching, people, and he did he was the first one that did the fasting after I'd done some of this research.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh my gosh," he said, "the difference between when I didn't fast and when I fasted, it's like I didn't get anywhere near as sick." So it's just so, I think there's so much more information now that we've never had. When my husband was going through chemo, you still had to go to a health food store to find a vitamin, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't anything in the grocery stores. There was no Costco's. There was none of this stuff.
No,
You actually had to go talk to somebody who actually knew what they were talking about. So we've come a long ways in a good way and in a bad way, because people, oftentimes just go out and buy the junk vitamins and stuff and think they're doing any good. But we've also come a long ways, I think, in understanding nutrition and how it plays a role, like you said, in all the different organs and this body systems and the digestion and the immune system. We know so much more. Yeah.
So you also touched on a point just right now with this patient client you're talking about. Mm-hmm. How important is it to have a good support team? Not just, you talked about his wife made him still eat the food. Right. I mean, you definitely, I think you need that support at home.
Absolutely.
It's hard to do it by yourself, but most people don't have that knowledge. So it's so important to have support from the outside also, right?
Yeah. I love calling it your A team.
Okay. Yeah.
So, one of the things I encourage people to do is get your A team built up around you. Most people, all your friends and family, want to help somehow. Yeah. They really do. They need to be given an assignment and not to overwhelm any one person. So let's say you give the assignment to a friend of yours on Saturdays when the farmers market's here, when we have a farmers market open again, that they're the ones that go down and shop for the organics down at the farmers market for you and bring home the organics. You have one person that maybe drives you to your treatments. You have one person that will do, maybe split that up between like 4 people, and they do one week. They take a week, maybe even come into your kitchen so you have somebody there to hang with or whatever, and cook some meals and put them in the freezer for you. Yeah, that are nourishing meals. Things that we know are healthy meals. So gather your A team around you and give them assignments and say, this is your job during my treatment. It could be a year-long treatment. Yeah. And so if that person knows that week of the month is my week, where I shop and I cook, at least 2 or 3 meals for you, so you have them in the freezer, then it takes the burden off of you, but it also makes them feel like they're participating, but not overwhelming them. Yeah. So I love that idea of, or maybe you have some really good friends and once a month you just say, it's going to be girls' night and you're going to come over and hang with you or whatever, So it really makes a difference, I think, for you as the cancer patient, but also I think for the people that want to help you. They feel like they can help you and do something, but if you just, make it very specific on what their job is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so one last question for you. So we started off talking about detox and, especially right now, everybody's at home. So anybody and everybody is trying to sell a detox program.
Yeah.
So how does someone who knows very little about nutrition and diet, how is someone supposed to choose with these millions of detox programs right now online? How do you know which one is legit?
Yeah, that's a really good question. First of all, I would look who's selling it. What is their background, right? What knowledge do they have? Do they have any are they just promoting a product? Because there's a lot of people that do that. Yeah. Or do they actually have some kind of education in that field? I mean, whether they're a nutritionist or a functional medicine doctor or an acupuncturist or a chiropractor or do they have any background which you would feel would qualify them to tell you what to do? The second thing would be if they're selling you a plethora of products, here, you're going to buy this package and it's got like 8 things in it. I would run. Yeah. Because you don't know, first of all, are any of those things going to interact any medication you might be on? Or, what about your reaction to some of this stuff? You putting all of this stuff in at one time, that's crazy. So I don't, that's a big one for me. I just don't think we need all of this stuff. I think food is always first. You know, to me, I would say, are they giving you a meal plan?
Yeah.
Are they giving you a shopping list? Are they focusing on organics? Are they focusing on things also, like I do focus in my course on clean water? Where are you getting your water from? It's like foundational, right?
Yeah.
You know, are they focusing on what is going on in your home environment? You know, that's another area, big area.
Yeah.
So are they going to educate you, or are they just going to send you off with this package of stuff and say, go do this?
Yeah.
You need to have someone, I think, educating you on where is this coming from and what are we doing during this detox? Because I'll do videos on the liver and how the liver functions, you know, phase 1, phase 2 liver detox. So people get it. Like when I eat these antioxidants, oh, this is why I'm eating them, because it has to do with, you know, what's glutathione? Oh, this has to do with liver detox. So I really think you need to see, are they going to educate you? Are they going to supply you with the tools to clean eat, you know, organically eat, teach you how to find organic food, you know? Yeah. I love the environmental working group site. I'm not sure if you're ewg.org.
Mm-hmm. We use them.
They have the Dirty Dozen.
Yep.
And the Clean 15.
Yep.
Yeah. So just look for someone who isn't just selling you a package of products. I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah. So it sounds like, just to wrap up, it sounds like looking for don't look for something that's cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Right. Look for something that's more customized, and look for someone to help you. You know, what is that? The Chinese proverb. You know, you give a man a fish, he eats one day. You teach him how to fish, he eats forever.
Absolutely.
So find someone that's going to teach you how to fish.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's some, you know, some good people out there doing things. They've been doing it for quite a while, and they have, like I have a private Facebook group. So when you come into my program, we're in a private Facebook group where you can ask questions and you can interact. And I love it. People will go literally to the grocery store and take pictures. Can I eat this? You know, those are the kind of, you know, you want that kind of support. And there's some programs out there. So there's Dr. Mark Hyman. He has a program, and he has a private Facebook group. So there's people like that. You just want to make sure you're getting with a healthcare professional that knows what they're talking about, and they're going to support you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I told you 30 minutes goes by fast.
It does. It does.
Well, Chris, thank you for bringing on the show. Definitely, we need to have you on more to talk about other parts of nutrition, because there's so much to diet and nutrition.
Yeah.
I would love to, and I think my patients and also the people that are watching this video are gonna, you know, they're gonna be thirsty for some more. So I would definitely like to have you on for additional videos and just to share your experience.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Thank you for having me.
All right, let me see if okay, we're off the live stream.
Okay, I think it's still recording.
Yep, still recording. Let's see.